Okay, so it's been a little bit since we've had some notes. All right, so today we are doing equations of parallel and perpendicular lines, so we're just extending what we did last time. So our essential question is how to write the equation of a line that is parallel or perpendicular to a given line and passes through a given point. So we're going to write equations parallel and perpendicular lines and use slope to find the distance from a point to a line. Again, this is something we've already done. So let's get started. So first thing, it says m is the coefficient of x called the, if you will recall, m is your slope. So let's type that in there because obviously typing it is going to look so much better. Yeah, let's make it a little bit smaller. All right, slope. B is the constant, and that is the y-intercept. Get that moved around. All right. Your x and y represent the ordered pairs that are contained on the line. So within this, y equals mx plus b, the y and the x here, that represents a point on the line. M is your slope, b is your y-intercept. So every letter that's in there has a significant purpose. All right, so identify the slope and the y-intercept, and then write the equation in slope-intercept form. All right, so my slope and my y-intercept. So the equation is y equals mx plus b. Well, obviously we're not going to leave it like that because we need to simplify it. So y is 1/2 x minus 3. So this would be your final equation. All right, over here, whenever you have a table, always look in the x column and see if you can find the 0. Because if you find the 0, then the y value is going to be your y-intercept. So anytime you see a 0 in the x column, the number that's in the y column that corresponds is your y-intercept. All right, so now we need to find the slope. So remember, to go from 5 to -2, I had to add 3. And to go from -2 to -3, I had to subtract 1. So rise 3. So rise 3, well, maybe. Rise 3, why isn't this thing letting me write? Rise 3, run -1, meaning the slope is -1/3. Oh, I wrote that completely backwards. Backtrack that. I was looking at the wrong problem. All right, here we go. Try that again. That makes the slope becomes -3 because 3 divided by -1 is -3. Therefore, my equation is y equals -3x minus 4. So there is your equation of number 2. All right. Over here, super easy because you can just count your spaces. First of all, I see that I am crossing the y-intercept at -2. So my y-intercept is -2. Now my slope, if you'll go from the x-intercept, so we go down 2, and we're going to go over 3. So we're going to go down 2, over 3. So my slope is down 2, over 3. So my equation is y equals -2/3 x minus 2. So all 3 of my examples had a negative y-intercept. All right, so now if you'll remember, we have a vertical line. So remember, all vertical lines have a slope that's undefined. And there is not a y-intercept because it's parallel to the y-axis. So that means the equation, if you'll remember, vux poi, vertical line, undefined, x equals. So that means the equation is x equals 2, because that's where it crosses the x-axis. All right, this one here, I have a y-intercept of 2. So I have a y-intercept of 2. And my slope is, if you'll look, rise, 1, run, rise, run, rise, run. So it looks like it's 1 over 1. So that means my equation is y equals 1x plus 2. And of course, you can always leave the 1 off and just put x plus 2. Works just the same. All right, here we have a slope of 0, and my y-intercept is 4. Remember, horizontal lines, horizontal lines have a slope of 0, and their equation is y equals. Well, what does y equals? Well, it equals the number it goes through on the y-axis, y equals 4. And yes, it is that easy. So just remember, this reason it is y equals 0x plus 4. Well, 0 times x is 0, and 0 plus 4 is 4. So that's why your equation is y equals 4, and that's what makes it that easy. All right, now let's talk about point slope. Okay, so point slope. Well, point slope, all right, is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, where x1, y1 represents 1 point, m is your slope, x, y represent all the points. So this is a particular point that they give you, and x and y just represents the whole point, all of the points, the line as a whole. So if I use this form here, this is my x1 and my y1. So m is 4, 2 would go here, and 1 would go here. So that would be the equation. That would be it. Y minus 2, because it says to write it in point slope form. You have to have a point and a slope. That's why it's called point slope. All right, over here I got my x1, y1, and then my slope. The slope here is -5, so my slope is -5. Because it says the slope is the same as this equation. So -5 is going to go here. -3 will go here. I don't know what it is with the 3's in this thing, but it won't let me write. And 2 here. And then, of course, you always want to clean it up. So you got a negative, negative, so this becomes y plus 3 equals -5, x minus 2. So that is point slope form. All right. Now we are going to write an equation of a line in slope-intercept form that passes through point P and is parallel to the given line. So here is my x1 and my y1. Here's my given line, so I need the slope. And since it's parallel, that has the same slope. So the slope is 2/3. So now using your point slope, so y minus -2 equals m times x minus x1. So that's y plus 2, and that's 2/3 x minus 3. Y equals 2/3 x minus 3 minus 2, because I'm going to subtract that 2 over there. So now if I can just distribute this, then I can add. So I've got y is 2/3 x. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 divided by the 3 is -2. And then I have that minus 2 there. So my final equation is y equals 2/3 x minus 4. All right. Now I've got, here's my x1 and my y1. My slope would be -2 here. So y minus 0 is -2 times x minus 6. So this is y equals -2x plus 12. All right, that one was a little easier. All right, this says graph the equation of a new line and given line of number 9 to check that it's parallel to the given line. All right, so it wants me to graph both of these lines. So it says to sketch and graph the equation of the new line and the given line of number 9. So the new line was 2/3, 2/3, so this is the new line, and this one was given. So -4 is my y-intercept, and my slope is 2 rise 2, run 3, 1, 2, 3. All right, so I'm going to use my straight line thingy over here, and I clearly can't draw a straight line. All right, extend it a little bit. So there's that line, and then my next one is -1 was the y-intercept, and rise 2, run 1, 2, 3. And I will do this one in a different color so we can see the difference. And let me extend it a little bit. And it says to graph the equation to check that it is parallel. And indeed it is parallel. All right. So now let's talk about writing equations of lines that are perpendicular. So I still have my x1 and my y1. My slope is, I don't know what my slope is because it's not in slope-intercept form. So I need to subtract 4x from both sides. So y is -4x plus 5, because remember those are unlike terms. So the slope, let me scribble this out. The slope is -4. Well, if the slope is -4, but they want a perpendicular line, then I need a perpendicular slope. Remember, one has to be positive, one is negative. Well, if this one's negative, then this one's positive. If this is really 4/1, then this is 1/4. So this is the slope that I need to use, and here is my point. So y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So y minus 5 is 1/4 x. Because when I multiply here, I get 1/4 x. Here's going to be 0. So all you need to do now is just add your 5 to both sides. So y is 1/4 x plus 5. So there is your perpendicular line. Okay, here we have x1, y1. Now they're just telling me x is equal to 8. All right, well, let's graph it so we can see what it looks like, because x equals 8. What the heck does that even look like? So here's my x and my y. So x is 8. So here's 8. All that means you have is a perpendicular line, or sorry, you have a vertical line through that point. So that's not what I wanted. So let me back that up. All right, give me my line segments. So you have a vertical line through the point. So this is x equals 8. Well, if I want a line that's perpendicular, then horizontal lines are perpendicular to vertical lines. So horizontal is perpendicular to vertical. So I need this point right here. So if I did over 3 down 1, then I would need a horizontal line through that point. So a horizontal line through that point. Let me raise it up a little bit. All right. So if the equation of this line is x equals 8, then the equation of this one is y equals -1. Y equals -1. All right, last part. It says given point -4, 3, and 0.4, -1. Find the midpoint. Well, remember midpoint, add your x's, -4 plus 4, and divide by 2. Then add your y, 3 plus -1, divide by 2. So -4 plus 4 is 0. So that's 0 over 2. 3 plus -1 is 2 over 2. So my midpoint is 0, 1. So my midpoint is 0, 1. All right, now write an equation of the line in slope-intercept form that passes through the midpoint. So here's your x1, y1 now. And is perpendicular to PQ. So not only do I need the midpoint, but I need the slope of PQ also. So the slope of PQ is -1 minus 3 over 4 minus -4. So two negatives together are going to become positive. So this is -4 over 8. So this is -1/4. Well, if my slope is 1/4, then my perpendicular slope is 4, just positive 4. So they want me to write an equation of a line that goes through the midpoint. So it has to go through this point, and it has to be perpendicular. So y minus y1, m, x minus x1. So y minus 1 is 4x. Y is 4x plus 1. So there is my perpendicular line. So this is my perpendicular line. And it goes through the midpoint. Well, remember, if it's going through the midpoint, it's bisecting it. So this is a perpendicular bisector. So this is a perpendicular bisector. All right, so 3 steps. Find your midpoint, find your slope, find your perpendicular slope. Plug it in, and there's your perpendicular bisector. All right, I will see you guys next time.